Now, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, made a statement at a recently concluded annual JLP digital conference, and it kind of worth taking a second look. This is a preview of what was said.
Were it up to me, I am not a believer in the death penalty. But for this, I would make an exception. Anyone found with a gun should start with the death penalty.
So I decided, let's take a closer look. Now, a few activists actually came against the announcement of the death penalty. And I want to get your views on it. Let's look at the full context of the statement. Let's listen to it and comment on the other side.
The Firearms Act. I personally got involved in this because I believe at the heart of the problem is the easy access to the gun. Our current law is structured to treat with legal firearms. The current law assumes that you have the firearm legally, that it came into the country legally. That's not the case. The problem that we have in Jamaica is the inflow, a mass unregulated inflow of unregistered light arms and weapons from post-war countries and from our big trading partners to the north. Sent here in exchange for drugs or sent in barrels with food to family to support internecine gang wars and feuds, for sport and ostentatious display, to support the control of turf, with the ultimate impact of destabilizing the Jamaican state by the expression of the ultimate violence, taking lives. Were it up to me, I am not a believer in the death penalty. But for this, I would make an exception. Anyone found with a gun should start with the death penalty. That's how strongly I feel about it. I see all of you there looking nervous. Anyone found with an illegal weapon, an illegal firearm, that's how serious we should treat it. Forgive the hyperbolic expression. But what I'm saying is there needs to be stiffer penalties for those people who import the weapon, who provide the weapons to the killers, who lock the weapons, who use them to intimidate people. There should be the harshest penalties for them. They should start at the highest level. They shouldn't get automatic, bargaining, plea bargaining. No. Those who perpetrate this should face the most severe consequence.
Now, after looking at the Prime Minister's statement, I have to applaud the initiative, the thought, the idea of curbing dangerous crime, gun crimes that exist, and send a strong message to criminals. And listen, that's not only for Jamaica. There are other countries that have high crimes as well. But I think he needs to go one or two steps further. Because in our society, there are even crimes that somehow worse. And you might say, how it's worse? Yeah, there are crimes that even worse than someone possessing an illegal firearm. I'll tell you a few of them. Let's look at politicians. A few politicians who are sitting in parliament right now, and they are the influencers, they are the big man, they are the head honcho in some of these activities that's under them. When they are caught, they probably should be given 2 life sentences. Let's talk about pedophiles. Yeah, pedophiles. People who take advantage of the young kids. Essentially, what they're doing is they are killing the next generation. Ultimately, they are killing the future generation. Now, that to me should probably get about 3 or 4 life sentences. But after in time, what we see is the people who commit this type of crimes, the pedophiles of the world, they get a slap on the wrist. They go away scot-free. It seems like if they are somehow protected. But how could these class of people be protected? How could these criminals be protected, given bail, sent back out to the community? And they are ultimately killing the future politicians, the future doctors, the future nurses. You are essentially not even concerned about your own well-being. The same people, the same generation that would take care of you, that would be your leaders, that would be your nurses and doctors. You are ultimately killing them. So pedophiles deserve about 5 life sentences, right? So, Mr. Prime Minister and other government officials and other prime ministers, I applaud Andrew Holness for taking the initiative, at least saying it. Now, this is not law. This is not something that's already implemented. He said that if it was up to him, if it would actually be enacted, might be a long stretch. But at least he's thinking along those paths. And you know what? I support that. I think mostly everyone will, because no one wants to live in a society where you can't trust to send your daughter or your son down the street because of heightened gun violence, especially in the Caribbean. I mean, especially anywhere for that matter. I also want to applaud the idea, right, of looking deeper into how crimes could be, or shots could be called from the prisons, where we have gangs operating in prison calling shots outside. So the Prime Minister said that he would work to implement budgetary allocation so that they could build a high security prison so that information wouldn't get out, and stricter penalties for people who bring this phone and communication device into the prison. Now that's very important. The core of this is we need to get the guns off the street, because the truth and the fact is them criminals and them, they don't afraid of nobody. They don't afraid of jail. Probably they'll think twice about committing this type of crimes. Secondly, I've seen activists come out strongly against the announcement. Well, I don't see how people living in a civil society would object that would protect your young ones, my young ones, myself, your family, your friends, right? But everyone have the right to feel and think the way how they want to feel. Here's the reason why I did this video. I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about the announcement by the Prime Minister of Jamaica? And do you think that these measures, draconian as it is, should be implemented in other parts of the Caribbean to deter gun violence and hard crimes, the death penalty for anyone with an illegal gun? Let me know what you guys think. Comment at the bottom, because it's important. Let's start the conversation. Let me hear what you got to say. Comment. I want to hear from you.